The thoughts, views, and opinions expressed by the host are for entertainment purposes only.
Yep.
Do not get mad.
Nope.
Do not get upset.
Don't.
Do not get offended.
Uh-uh.
Do not pass go.
Cry baby.
Do not collect $200. Instead, pay us, and then we'll shut up.
Yeah. Get ready to get antsy. What's going on, podcast? Early Bird and Ninja. Yo, this is Ninja.
We're gonna do it tonight, boy. Gemini thing, don't think you understand it. And we are here to tell you what's going on.
That's right. What's going on, podcast? Ninja here again, wearing my cat shirt because we're about to talk about what we're talking about today.
We're talking about Katt Williams and how he got the internet turned upside down, inside out,
Bro,
round and round and turning. Man,
I ain't even gonna front. Let's just take a moment, right? Because Katt Williams I don't even know where to begin, but Katt Williams been doing this for a long time. People would say he's one of the GOATs. People would say he's one of the greatest. I'm a fan of Katt Williams, but not like the way I am of like Eddie Murphy or Richard Pryor, because I'm an older head. So, I'm kind of like in his age group, but I get it. Katt Williams has been doing his thing. But, man, he set the internet ablaze for 2024, bro. Like, yo, talk about, listen. It would have been great if they would have just put a litter box somewhere and just called it cat shit. Because he shitted on, and I don't want to say shit it. I don't want to say shit because that would be actually the wrong definition of what he did. I think he spoke his truth.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of things in Hollywood that regular people like me and you and probably millions of others don't know about.
Right.
And there's things he knows that that people don't like that he knows, and I believe him in a lot of the things he says. You know what I'm saying? Because he's not the first person to express this amount of concern in Hollywood.
Not at all.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And then it's like a lot of the things that he was saying, it makes sense, man.
It
makes sense.
It does, and it goes back to what we talked about last time. It's the elites, bro. Like, call it what you want. Call it this the $1 billion club. Call it the Illuminati. Call it the butthole pirates. Whatever you want to call it, it's there for sure. I believe him. I 110% believe him on everything he's saying. I mean, is he making fun of certain things? Yeah, okay. He's a comedian. That's what he does.
Right.
But you got Dave Chappelle. You got Katt. You got there was somebody. Oh, you got God damn it. There was somebody else who also had the same concerns. There's a bunch. Oh, you got Ice Cube. You got all these guys that are trying to tell you something and nobody's listening. You know what I'm saying? It's almost to the point where it's like our heroes are trying to get us to listen, and we're not until this happened. And then we either do one or two things. We tell them, we either go, oh, it's Katt Williams, he's just being crazy, or he's on drugs, or he's mental, or he's this. I mean, Kanye's been doing this for like years, and everybody writes him off as crazy. I don't think Kanye's crazy. I think he knows things that we don't, because we're not in that 1% bracket of rich people shit. You know what I'm saying? Not saying that all Jewish people are bad. Like, Kanye's not implying that Jewish people are bad. It's the higher ups that are all Jewish that control everything, bro. And it's real. It's there. We just don't see it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. And then it's because because they have money, they control the media and everything like that. They can paint these narratives and stories the way they want to tell it.
Right. Exactly.
So,
and it. I watched the whole Katt interview on Shay, and first I gotta give Shay Shannon did. He did great. I thought
he
it
did.
It was awesome that he didn't ask him no questions that were crazy. Katt just was applying shit to what he was asking him. But it was a great interview, bro. It was a long interview, so it took me a while to actually watch the whole thing because I was like watching a little bit at work, and I was so interested in what he had to say because Katt don't just go on TV and just ramble shit. You know, if you see Katt on TV, he's doing a special or he's doing a movie or whatever. But what I've gathered from Katt is that he's really smart. You can't take that away from him. He's smart. He's not only smart book wise, but he's street smart. He's been through it. He knows what it takes to succeed in this cutthroat business, I think. And like I said, don't get me wrong, I like Kevin Hart. I think he's great, and I don't think he is everything Katt is saying, but I do believe a lot of these people join these Illuminatis or these clubs and they don't even know. You know what I'm saying? That's like me telling you, hey, come work for me and I'm gonna pay you a bunch of money. You don't even know what you're gonna be doing, right? You come and you start working for me and I got you doing crazy shit, but you don't care because the money's blinding you. So you dumping bodies in the river and you're running over puppies and you're doing all this stuff, but you become so accustomed to me giving you crazy amount of money and you don't even see that what you're doing is wrong. And I think that's what he is trying to say is like, I don't think like Kevin Hart is doing shit maliciously to play anybody. I think he's just when he calls them the plant, the industry plant, is only one thing that means is that the industry is paying you to do these things. So maybe in the beginning, Kevin Hart would be like, yeah, I'm not wearing that dress. I'm not wearing that dress. 5 years later, I'm not wearing that dress. 10 years later, hey man, you're big. Put this dress on. $100 million. And this is yours. After a while, that dress sounds good. Most people are just gonna slip into it. You know what I'm saying? And they're gonna be like, it's not a big deal. It's just for entertainment. But for some people, it is a big deal because at what point do you sell your soul for bread? You know what I'm saying? Like, do you give up your meaning of being a man because you slipped into a dress to make money? You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So that's I think what he's trying to say is that these motherfuckers are getting so much money that they don't even realize they done sold their soul to be big. And I think a lot of people do that.
You're saying that Kevin Hart didn't go to the crossroads to sell it. So what you're saying is like they gave him a little bit, then give him a little bit more, and they give him a little bit more, and they give him a little bit more, and then when you start to look around, it's like, yo, I'm knee deep in this shit.
Yeah, and it's too late because now you got 100 staff behind you that you feed in families. You got a whole production company that's looking at you like, yo, Kev, if you don't wear this dress or you don't make this money, we don't got no money. We don't got no food. Right. You understand? Like, there's a thing, man, in Hollywood that if you don't do something, they blackball you. It is what it is, bro. Yo, even Denzel's been talking about this, man. And Denzel makes bread. But once you start getting into that, you start doing these films and you start getting big, they come after you. I mean, come on, look at, like I said, I hate to keep using Kevin as the example, but he's one of the biggest right now. So let's just do this. Let's put Kevin here and we'll put Dave Chappelle here, right? Kevin's up here. If you ask me when it comes to Dave Chappelle, and I don't want to say in the money, I'm just saying like in stardom. Even though Dave Chappelle is the man, and we all know that, you got to realize Kevin is up here right now. He's everywhere, bro. I mean, you can't not. it's like I said about The Rock, bro. Too much Rock drives you crazy. You know what I'm saying? And like there was a point where I enjoyed watching The Rock in movies, and now I can't stand it because it's too much. Right. You know what I'm saying? That's the same thing with Kevin Hart, bro. I think Kevin Hart has made it so big that people are just like, it's saturation is just crazy when it comes to Kevin Hart, bro. It's just too much. And I think that's what Katt is trying to say, is like at one point he just sold his soul, maybe not knowing that he was going to be this big, and he did, and now he has no choice because the train is going, bro, and you can't stop it because you're in contracts. You knee deep in it, you don't even know.
Right.
It's almost like joining a gang, and it's like you hanging out with a bunch of bloods and you don't even know that you almost a blood yourself because you just hang with these guys every day. You might not be one, but you hang with them so hard that you end up doing the crazy shit they do. It just is the same mindset, bro. Same mindset.
I agree. But I must say I was shocked and surprised at the name drops that Katt Williams doing, because what he said about Ludacris was ludicrous.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I think out of all the names he dropped, Ludacris was probably my biggest one, because I was like, oh, not Luda. I like, Luda's a real nigga. Like, I'm like, yo. And then I realized, I started thinking about it, and then I started like really looking into it, and Luda is probably that one that slipped into the gang by accident. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's making all this money now, and he might not be exactly what Katt was saying, like on a Kevin Hart type of thing, but he's probably almost there, to the point where it's like, oh, you won't do that? Luda will, and we'll go get Luda, and Luda will do it. I mean, Luda hasn't worn a dress yet, but that shit he said about the Fast and Furious stuff, I mean, do we know it's true or not? We don't know. We just have the word for it, but the way Luda responded sounded like it was true. Listen, if none of the shit he was saying was not true, these guys would have not went nuts. Literally everybody from Michael Blacksman to Cedric went on Twitter just to express, like, these guys don't do these things. They're so big, they usually don't respond to people, but they did, bro. And there's always some kind of truth.
Well, see, the thing
to that,
to me, the thing that's crazy is you don't know who's who and what's what. Like, you don't really know who's telling the truth and who's not. So you basically just have to figure out, okay, I believe this person or I don't believe this person. Correct?
Yeah,
right?
You always take it with a grain of salt, for sure.
So I think this is my God honest opinion. I think Katt Williams is telling the truth, but I also think that these stars are telling the truth as well.
Yeah, no,
because like I believe that Katt Williams is telling his truth, because the powers that be, they invite him into these rooms, and then they have the conversation. They say what's said, they do what's done, and then Katt Williams leaves. And then when he leaves, here comes these other parties, and then and they go into the same rooms, talk to those same people, and then those people tell them something totally different than what they just told Katt Williams.
Right.
And then they leave, and then people ask what happened or what was said. Then so when Ricky Smiley say, Monday night was supposed to be my role, so now Katt hear this, oh, it's supposed to be your role? Nah. Let me go on this platform and tell you what really happened. Right. And I don't. So what I'm saying, I don't think Katt Williams is lying, and I don't think Ricky Smiley is lying. I think they're both telling the truth from their perspective, from their experience. So I think some of this is just maybe ego. So
I mean, ego always plays a big factor, especially when you got billion-dollar comedians, going after each other. Because let's keep it real, all these guys got money. If they spoke no word to each other, they all be fine at the end of the day. But I think that's because they all came up the same circuit. But like Katt was saying, Kevin did his thing and he came up faster. When he said he was taking shortcuts, I don't think he meant like, I think he meant in the way of the comedy clubs, like yo, you didn't work as hard as I did to be where I'm at, and you're here. Same thing with, all right, for instance, the Steve Harvey shit, bro. Listen, I watched was it Mark Curry's interview a couple months ago, way before Katt even said anything about this shit. Mark Curry, and you know who Mark Curry is, I'm sure.
Yeah, Mr. Cooper.
Okay, Mr. Cooper, right.
Yeah.
Okay, I watched the interview with him a couple months ago, and he was going crazy on Steve Harvey. And Steve Harvey had the same response he had for Katt. It was like, yo, you guys are just angry, y'all bitter. I'm out here making bread, and y'all not. I don't think it's that, bro. I really do think, like, all right, we all know no idea is original. Let's just keep it real. No idea is original. I could go out and come up with something, and somebody already did that. Probably didn't come up with it as big as me, but they did it. They thought about it. Like, it's just a way to make things better. He had hanging with Mr. Cooper. That shit lasted like 3 or 4, 5 seasons. It wasn't as big. It was big for the 90s, but it wasn't as big as what was it? Steve Harvey's show, or Mr. Hightower, whatever the fuck he was, right? The formula was the same, bro. It was the same.
Yeah, it was.
Black principal, flat top, cool guy, suits, and cool with the ladies, good with the kids.
Yeah.
Let's keep it real. He stole that formula, and I don't want to say stole.
Okay.
There was probably a lot going on there, but that formula was already used. And don't get me wrong, a lot of sitcoms use the same formula over and over, but it was right after.
Okay, but in Steve Harvey's defense, is it really him? Because it ain't like he got to.
And that's what I mean. Like,
at that time, no, Steve Harvey, it wasn't big enough to say we're going to take his show and copy it. I think he was approached by Hollywood and say, we have a show that we want to do.
Yeah.
And then it just so happened to be just like that show.
Yeah.
And then I'm pretty sure he could say, hey man, ain't this just like hanging with Mr. Cooper? I mean, you could say that, man, but shoot, man, you trying to make it big. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And that's what I'm saying.
You got bills to pay, kids to feed. You know what I'm saying?
No, I 100% with that. But on that note, so you got a show that's almost identical to a show that was just stopped working a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And you don't have, and then you start doing stand-up, and then almost kind of take his jokes too. And like I said, no idea is original. So you could do a fart joke, and I could do a fart joke, and my shit would be a little different than yours. It doesn't mean I went and copied you. It just, everybody likes fart jokes. You know what I'm saying? So, but it's almost like they don't. You know how rappers pay homage to each other when they come out, but like, I really followed, Big Daddy Kane, so he was my favorite rapper, so I wanted to sound like him, and then I kind of developed my own flow.
Right.
It's almost like comedians are doing the same thing, but they don't pay homage to the ones before them unless they're in stand-up. So it kind of when you do stand-up in a show, it kind of blurs the lines on what you actually are. Are you a comedian or you are a TV show funny guy? You know what I'm saying? Because there's a difference. If you ask me, Jamie Foxx, he's a comedian and a funny show guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, he got his show from doing stand-up because he was funny. Martin Lawrence, stand-up, got a show. So the whole Steve Harvey thing was like, okay, nobody's seen you do stand-up that much. Yeah, you were doing it, but you weren't as good as other ones, but you got a show, and then all of a sudden, you're this big thing, and you do Family Feud, and you talk all this shit. Like I get it, but now they have an image to hold up to. Also, so it's like your freedom of speech is being gagged because you're on TV. So Steve's remark was like, I don't want to do a stand-up because I can't. What I say, they'll cancel my shows. But that right there, that alone, that sentence alone tells you that there's people behind him telling him, yo, you can't do no stand-up, because if you go out there and you make fun of gays, lesbians, transgenders, people in wheelchairs, the networks, ABC, Fox, you're done. So is Katt wrong for what he said? He's that, just Steve Harvey saying that alone clarifies that Katt is right. People are governing what you're saying because of the money they pay you. That's his whole point, regardless if he's lying or not.
I gotta be honest, man. I will have to respectfully disagree on that point, because it's Steve Harvey. The things that what he's saying is, the things that I want to talk about is going to offend so many people, right?
Right.
So like, but because of who he is and what he's doing, so with him being the host of Family Feud, he can't go do stand up and then do what Dave Chappelle does and then think he's going to go back to Family Feud. You see what I'm saying? So like that's not going to work for him. So it's not that he has a team saying, hey, you can't do stand up. That's him realizing himself. I said, man, I can't go out there and talk about, this community of people and then think I'm finna go back over here and do Family Feud. Man, they're gonna kick me off the show. You know what I'm saying? So, and
that's exactly my point.
But I don't think there's a team of people behind him with that. That's just him realizing, I can't do this because I can't do stand up, because if I do stand up, this is what I want to talk about. And if I talk about these things, then I try to go back to my other job, my regular job, which is Family Feud.
Right.
They're not happy. Like they're going to be people are going to protest and tell them to, get me off of the show.
And I totally get that. That's like you having a fucking job and you hate it, you want to punch somebody in the face, but you can't because you feed your family. I totally get that. But you got to remember, Steve does multiple different things. He does shows, he does this, he does that. If stand-up is his first love, or like he said it is, there should be there should be a way for him to still do that. I agree. It's like being a rap. It's like, for instance, if 50 Cent made an album and he's doing 10 different shows and he made an album and he's cursing and whatever, and they're like, yo, you can't drop that album. That album is just it's wrong. You're doing a family show on ABC about kids, going to school, but you just dropped an album.
But I think that's different. I think that's different. Like you don't hold rappers to standards like that. And 50 himself would tell you they don't hold rappers to certain standards, because
But that's just what I'm saying. It's okay. I get it. Steve Harvey has a standard he has to keep up. He has to uphold his professional, attire. He built himself up here. He's this professional guy that doesn't do nothing wrong. Blah 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 blah.
Right.
Fine. Cool. But then don't get mad when stand-up comics come after you because you don't do stand-up no more after the, Bernie, which I think is funnier at stand-up and I think is a king versus Cedric and Steve. When they did the King of Comedy shit, there was a whole thing going around that Bernie was supposed to be the opener and the rest of them were supposed to do the closing.
Right.
But Bernie was the funniest one, so he was the closer.
Right.
I don't know how true that is. Obviously, that's just rumor.
I mean, I've heard it too.
But let's keep it real. Bernie was the funnier one because he did stand up way longer and his show was hilarious. But like I said, bro, he has a standard now. That's fine and all, but it's like, do you really have a standard, or you just have people in your back telling you can't do that? Or maybe he's just not a stand-up person anymore. Maybe that just was never his wing. So either way, there's some truth to what Katt's saying. He either has people in his back telling him he can't do that, or he's really not as funny as people think he is. One or the other, you know what I'm saying?
Okay. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know, man. I think Steve Harvey is funny, bro. I ain't gonna lie. That man.
Don't get me wrong. I think he's funny. I watch him all the time on Family Feud.
That man said Michael Jackson came out the house looking like Captain Crunch.
Yeah. Listen, I'm not saying he's not funny. I'm just saying, like.
Oh my God, because I know exactly what he's talking about, dog. That jacket with the little things on it, man. Yeah, bro. Steve Harvey funny to me, bro. I'm sorry. The man.
No, I'm not saying he's not funny. I'm just saying there's just other things going on, and I get it. But going to all that other shit he was saying about industry people blackballing the gatekeepers. Mm-hmm. I believe that shit's real.
Yeah. Now, I believe that's true, and I think what he was saying is you have gatekeepers, then you got these elite. Excuse me, you got these elites, right? Like how he was saying, Cedric stole his joke. I'm not gonna lie. I do think Ced stole his joke because. Exactly what Katt said. He said he just thought I was just some no-name comedian. They would see me this one time and then that would be it. So for Katt to do that joke and then blow up, it's like, okay, yeah, you took the joke. I mean, because I seen it the side-by-side comparison. It's
really there.
Yeah, it's too similar, way too similar. Mm-hmm. So
even the way he was like shaking his arms was like bro, like you couldn't even do some other shit like shake sideways.
Like you have to cheat to get ahead sometimes. So I get it. I get why he would do it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. My thing is, bro, like just behind the scenes, man, like just make peace. Like, yeah, man, I still do it, man.
Yeah, and I agree because at the end of the day, they're all great characters. They're all great people. Mm-hmm. It's just, you got that. Like I said, you got that 1% of people who don't fuck with the other people because of their money, their stature, their different growth. You know what I'm saying?